class. Today I am going to start the second part of chapter 7, Ionic Equilibrium in Solution. In 1824, Faraday categorized the substances on the basis of their conduction of electric current in solution. Faraday classified these compounds or these substances into two categories named electrolytes and non-electrolytes. So the name clearly indicate the compounds whose aqueous solution or the melt conduct electricity are termed as electrolytes, and such type of compounds are named as electrolytic in nature, whereas the compounds whose aqueous solution or the melt doesn't show conduction of electricity, such type of compounds are termed as non-electrolytes. For example, if we have taken aqueous solution of some inorganic acids or inorganic compounds, that is, these compounds may be salt, these compounds may be bases, or these compounds may be acid. If we have taken aqueous solution of inorganic salt, acids or bases, these solution will act as electrolyte because they shows conduction of electricity in their aqueous solution or aqueous state as well as in the molten state. Second example is, suppose we have taken solution of urea, solution of sugar. It was observed that these substances do not show conduction of electricity. It means these substances will act as non-electrolytes and their solution will act as non-electrolytic solution. Further, in 1880, Arrhenius explained the conduction of electrolyte is due to presence of ions. This concept was explained by scientists named as Faraday on the basis of their conduction of electricity. Substances are of two types. First is named as electrolyte, second is non-electrolyte. Further, Arrhenius in 1880 explained that conduction in any substance or conduction in the electrolytes takes place due to presence of ions, and these ions are produced by dissociation of the respective substance, and the production of or the presence of ions occurs due to dissociation of given inorganic substance, may be acid or it may be base, or the given compound may be salt. If these substances undergo dissociation, then they show production of ions or presence of ions. So due to presence of these ions, the compounds will act as electrolytic or electrolytes. This concept was given by Arrhenius. So he also explained that different compounds have different extent of dissociation into ions. Means हर compound जो है अलग अलग property show करता है dissociation की. Some species dissociate to large extent and produce large number of ions, whereas few compounds are also there which doesn't produce large number of ions. They undergo partial dissociation. So on this basis, he further derived a term called as degree of dissociation. Degree of dissociation can be defined as total number of molecules which dissociate into ions, or the fraction of total number of molecules which dissociate into ions is termed as degree of dissociation, or degree of dissociation is written by or given by symbol alpha. How does it explain? He explained the number of moles dissociated or total fraction of moles undergo dissociation divided by total number of moles taken. How much moles or how many moles we have taken out of that, what is the number of moles dissociation, that is called as degree of dissociation. Suppose we have taken sodium hydroxide. Now this sodium hydroxide is a base. In aqueous solution, it will dissociate to produce the respective Na positive and OH negative ions. Now how can, from this we can calculate the number of moles dissociated from number of moles taken. जितने moles हम starting में यहाँ पर लेंगे उससे हमारे पास plot में कितने moles आए हैं, that term is called as degree of dissociation. Now depending on degree of dissociation, these substances can be further classified into two categories named as weak electrolyte and the strong electrolyte. Further is the classification of now electrolytes on the basis of their degree of dissociation. First is called as weak electrolyte and second one is named as strong electrolyte. So the strong electrolyte is a substance which dissociate completely into ions in the aqueous solution, which undergo complete dissociation in the aqueous solution, hence will also act as a good conductor of electricity. That substance will also act as a good conductor of electricity. Such type of substances are termed as strong electrolyte. In spite of this, the weak electrolytes are those which dissociate only to the small extent, in which dissociation is not complete. The compounds undergo partial dissociation or dissociate only to small extent. Similarly, in the aqueous solution, this dissociation to small extent also takes place in aqueous solution. Hence, the conduction of electricity in such type of solution is also small. So, such type of species are termed as weak electrolyte. These species may be weak acids, or they may be weak bases, or they may be weak salt. Whereas strong electrolyte include strong acids or strong bases or the strong salt solution. For example, we have taken strong electrolyte, suppose HCl. This will dissociate to produce ions only in aqueous solution. Aqueous solution means the solution in which the solvent is water. So in presence of water or in aqueous solution, this electrolyte will dissociate completely to produce the respective hydronium ion and the chloride ion. Clear? So this electrolyte now produces H positive. This H positive combines with water and is present in the form of hydronium ion, or simply we can say that it produces H positive ions. H positive ions in the aqueous solution are actually present in this hydronium ion form, and the complete dissociation or complete ionization of such substances is given by a single arrow pointing towards right side. The single arrow pointing toward right side indicate that the substance undergo complete ionization. In this case, the substance undergo complete ionization. In case of weak electrolyte, suppose we have taken acetic acid. When dissolved in water, it was observed that this species is partially ionized and an equilibrium is set up between the ions produced and the unelectrolyte or unionized electrolyte. Clear? So, the weak acid or the weak electrolyte partially ionized. As a result, due to this partial ionization of this respective electrolyte into the ions, an equilibrium is set up between these ions and this unionized electrolyte. So, in this case, ionization is given by double arrow in between, as here. Generally, the ionization of weak electrolyte is given as, suppose we have taken a weak electrolyte named AB. The physical state of this electrolyte is solid. When undergo dissolution in water, that is aqueous solution, it will dissociate to undergo partial dissociation, or it will undergo partial ionization to produce the respective A positive ions and the B negative ions. This arrow again indicate partial ionization, or it means equilibrium is attained between these ionized ions and this unionized electrolyte. This is the sign of equilibrium, which is generally given in case of weak electrolyte. Now, this equilibrium is named as ionic equilibrium because here we have ions. Therefore, this equilibrium is now termed as ionic equilibrium, and it is present between these ions and the undissociated electrolyte or unionized electrolyte. Therefore, by applying the law of chemical equilibrium to this equation, the value of equilibrium constant Ki stands for equilibrium ionization constant, is equal to concentration of product divided by concentration of reactant. This is called as equilibrium ionization constant, and it is obtained by applying the law of chemical equilibrium. Now the next question arises, what is the difference between dissociation and ionization? Now the next point, how can we clearly differentiate between these two terms? First is dissociation and second is ionization. Both these terms have slight difference between them, or generally we use these any of these two term without any distinction. जनरली हम इन दोनों में से किसी भी टर्म को यूज़ कर लेते हैं, आयोनाइजेशन, डिसोसिएशन, जब भी कोई स्पेसिस रेस्पेक्टिव आयंस प्रोड्यूस करता है. बट द मेन डिफरेंस इज दैट व्हेन द आयोनिक कंपाउंड, when the compound is ionic compound when undergo dissolution in water, in which what are ionic compound in which the respective species are already present in the ionic form. जो भी हमारे पास given solid होगा ionic solid, वो already किस form में present है, that is present in ionic state or ions. When dissolved in water, now it produces the respective ions, or this ionic compound will separate into ions. This term is called as dissociation. Dissociation term simply is used for ionic compounds which are already present in the form of ions in their solid state. When dissolved in water, they will produce ion. Now this term is called as dissociation. But in case of neutral molecule, suppose we have taken neutral molecule like HC. As we know, this HCl will act as a polar covalent compound. Polar means which have ability to produce the dipoles. One of them is slightly positive charge, other will be slightly negative charge. And the compound is covalent because it is formed by sharing of electrons between these two atoms. They doesn't undergo transfer of electron, it will show sharing of electrons. That's why it is called as polar covalent compound, and nature of this compound is neutral. It is not ionic compound. So this compound doesn't contain ions. This compound doesn't contain any kind of ions. But when this compound dissolved in water, when this compound is dissolved in water, now it will split to produce the ions. Now it will split into ions. Now this species will undergo ionization. Now this species will undergo ionization, or this process is termed as ionization. So I repeat again, the compound which undergo dissociation into ions, such as ionic compound which are already present in ions, means the compound which are formed by transfer of electrons, means ionic compound undergo dissociation, whereas the polar covalent compound which are neutral in nature initially and doesn't contain any ion, when dissolved in water ionize to produce the ion. This term is called as ionization. And how dissociation takes place? Suppose we have taken ionic compound NaCl. When dissolved in water, it produces respective Na positive ions and the Cl negative ions. And these respective ions are surrounded by the neutral water molecules. In this case, the ionic compound is a cluster of positively and negatively charged ions held together by electrostatic force of attraction, which are strong forces. When such ionic compound was dissolved or put in water, as we know, this water is also polar compound or polar solvent, which possess high value of dielectric constant, approximately 1.84. So in this case, the high dielectric constant of water reduces the electrostatic forces present between these species. As a result, it will produce the ions. So this compound has strong force of attraction. When dissolved in water, the high dielectric constant of water now able to weaken the forces of attraction, named as electrostatic forces. These forces are reduced by 1/80 times in presence of the solvent water. So by addition of water, the ions now becomes loose and they freely move in the solution in the aqueous form. So in case of weak electrolyte, the extent to which ionization occurs will depend on the strength of bond, whether the bond is weak or whether the bond is strong. and also it will depend on the extent of solution of the ions produced. So after this we will discuss about the ionization of weak electrolyte, which was explained by a scientist named as Ostwald. Hence it is called as Ostwald dilution law, and it will take place only in case of weak electrolyte. Suppose we have taken acetic acid, which will act as weak electrolyte. When it is dissolved in water, it undergo partial dissociation into ions, and immediately or after some time equilibrium is set up between the ions ionized and the unionized species. So equilibrium is set up. Now by applying the law of chemical equilibrium, equation becomes K is equal to concentration of product ऑफ कंसंट्रेशन ऑफ प्रोडक्ट। जितने भी हमारे पास प्रोडक्ट प्रेजेंट होंगे हर एक को हमें इसी फॉर्म में राइट करना है, मल्टीप्लाई concentration of hydronium ion, now concentration of reactant, each multiplied, that is acetic acid multiply concentration of water. In dilute solution, this water concentration is considered to be constant, therefore it is taken to left side. Product of this K and concentration of water is written as equal to Ka. This Ka again represent the ionization constant or dissociation constant of this acid. So now Ka becomes equal to concentration of acetate ions into concentration of hydronium ion divided by concentration of the weak electrolyte, that is acetic acid. Now suppose we are again going to represent the dissociation of this acid. If the initial concentration of acid present here in moles per liter is C, suppose again we want to know about the concentration of acid initially and after equilibrium. Suppose at initial concentration, the concentration of this acetic acid in moles per liter is supposed to be C. At this initial concentration, product formation doesn't take place, therefore their concentration will be equal to 0. At equilibrium concentration, it was observed that this species now undergo dissociation. It means जो हमने स्टार्टिंग में नंबर ऑफ मोल्स यूज किए थे उसमें से कुछ पार्टिकल्स यहाँ से क्या हो चुके हैं, डिसोसिएट, एंड दैट डिसोसिएशन इज कॉल्ड एज अल्फा. So now it becomes equal to C into 1 minus alpha. Suppose 1 minus alpha mole substance यहाँ से क्या हो चुके हैं, dissociate, and resulting in formation of C alpha of acetate ion and C alpha of hydronium ion. Now putting this value of equilibrium concentration in this equation first. Now the concentration of acetate ion is C alpha, hydronium ion is C alpha, and concentration of acetic acid is C into 1 minus alpha. Therefore Ka becomes equal to C alpha into C alpha divided by C into 1 minus alpha, or it is written as C square alpha square C into 1 minus alpha. Equation becomes C into alpha square divided by 1 minus alpha. So in case of weak electrolyte, the value of this alpha is very small, therefore it can be neglected. Hence 1 minus alpha is now taken equal to 1. Therefore this whole term becomes equal to 1. Therefore now K becomes equal to C into alpha square, or we can say that alpha is equal to under root Ka divided by C. Now in terms of volume, if V is the volume of solution in liter containing 1 mole of electrolyte, in that case now C becomes equal to 1 by V. This C becomes equal to 1 by V. Putting this value here, the value of alpha becomes equal to under root K into V. So this is the ionization of weak electrolyte, and it is obtained by Ostwald dilution law. Suppose we have taken weak base. In that case, the value of alpha becomes equal to under root Kb into V. It becomes equal to Kb into V. In terms of concentration, it becomes equal to alpha is equal to under root K divided by V. So from this above results, the following equation obtained, or following derivation of following expression is obtained for a weak electrolyte. the degree of ionization is inversely proportional to the square root of molar concentration. For a weak electrolyte, the degree of ionization, that is alpha, is inversely proportional to the square root of molar concentration, or it is directly proportional to the square root of volume containing 1 mole of the solute. In terms of volume, it is directly proportional. In terms of concentration, these two factors are inversely proportional. This is called as Ostwald dilution law.